I made the biggest mistake when I started dating again after a 4-year break. I used to go on first dates having had conversations with people via message, imagining what they were like. I felt like before I got on the date, I already knew a little bit about who they were. I had already built up this picture of who they are in my head, and I kind of felt like I knew what the date was going to be like. It's almost like I had decided who they were before we met in person. And then I imagined these like exciting dates where there'd be instant chemistry and it was going to be a fairy tale, and I'd let my brain get carried away with me, and I'd really over-romanticize everything with this person I just matched with online. But what that did to me regularly, on more than one occasion, was leave me feeling really disappointed at the end of the date, because I felt like they didn't live up to this fairy tale that I'd created in my mind. And I think that is really unfair on the person that I was going on a date with, because I'd almost like held them to these expectations that I had in my mind. I'd held them to this standard of this character that I'd created in my mind before I even knew them as a person, before I'd even met them in real life. And I think that that is really unfair, because when I think about it the other way around, if somebody decided who I was based on, say, my social media profiles or based on a few messages that we'd sent together, I'd be a bit disappointed, because I feel like my personality in real life is probably a lot better. It is a lot better than I can almost like showcase over messages, because with messages you overthink and you can't always get the context, and I feel like until you've known somebody's personality, you can't sense their sense of humour in a message, you can't sense the way that they communicate, you can't sense all their little the little personality traits that come out once you have met in person. So that's not the energy we need to be taking on our first dates. We can't be going into first dates thinking this is going to be the one, we've had some really good conversations, it's going to be the best first date I've ever had, and putting all that pressure on the other person before you get on the date. But what we can do, because obviously we want to be excited about first dates, I don't know about you, but I enjoy first dates and I want to make sure that I enjoy them. I don't want to go into a first date dreading it, because then I'm never actually going to meet anyone. You want to go into a first date with the energy of, no matter what this person is like, no matter how this date goes, I am going to have a good time. And I think that takes the pressure of making them the person that needs to make you have a good time. As we've talked about before, we cannot control somebody else's behaviour. We cannot control how somebody else acts. We can't control how they're going to show up, what they're going to be wearing, the conversation that they're going to be giving. Like, we can't control anything outside of us, but we can control our attitude and our mindset and our energy going into a date. So we can choose to go into that first date feeling really good about ourselves, feeling full of energy, feeling positive, being open. This is something I think a lot of people do, and it's understandable, because we've all been on shitty dates. We've all been in scenarios where we've been treated badly, or we've been let down by the person we've been on a date with. We have all had those experiences that have made us question whether it's even worth dating or whether we should just be single for the rest of our lives. It is normal for us to go into these experiences feeling a little bit closed off, a little bit apprehensive, a little bit kind of guard up, worrying, is the same thing going to happen again? It is normal for us to go into that. And I think if we try and convince ourselves that we shouldn't be like that, I think you're just kind of almost saying to yourself, like, my feelings aren't valid, or that experience wasn't worth me being upset about, when it absolutely was. But what we want to do instead is try to start every new date, every first date, with a fresh slate. This is a brand new chapter, brand new person. You're going into it with this fresh, open energy of, it doesn't matter what happened in the past, I'm choosing to go into this date with an open mind. And I think when we go into dates in a more open energy, is feeling more open, feeling more willing to open up to someone. And I'm not saying we need to like relive our childhood trauma and tell them all the secrets that we've got buried and that we'd only tell our best friends. I'm not saying that we need to go and spill the beans on our entire life story. Absolutely not. But going into it with this open mind, this curiosity, this little bit of excitement, but not the over-romanticising excitement, just that little bit of oh, I'm going to meet someone new, I'm going to have different conversations this evening, I'm going to get to know someone. That really fresh, positive energy, that is going to help you connect with someone, even if you're not going on a first date. Like, even if you're just going to a club, for example, and you're going to go and meet new people, this is how you're going to connect with people that little bit more, is by going into it with that open mind, that fresh energy. And to be able to do that, you really need to be confident in yourself, in who you are. You need to be confident in what you are looking for. You need to know that you are an absolute catch, that someone would be lucky to be with you. You need to believe that you deserve to have good experiences. Again, when we've had so many negative experiences, when we've been on so many bad dates, or we've been ghosted so many times, or we've just not had the experience that we actually want, it can be hard to keep the faith that what we desire is possible. But you really do deserve to have these positive experiences, so you need to believe that you are worthy of them and that they exist. Again, I don't like to get too carried away in the over-romanticising and the fantasising about what it could be like, but there has probably been a time in your life where you had a good positive experience of meeting someone new. Even if it wasn't a first date, there was a moment where you connected with a new friend, or where you just had a good conversation with someone whilst you were waiting for your coffee, or whatever it was. You know that first meets can be good. You've got that evidence there where you have in the past met someone for the first time and clicked instantly. And as I said, it doesn't matter if it's not a romantic, like in a romantic scenario, but even just as a friend, you've had those positive experiences before. So when you go into a first date with that same mindset and that same energy around, okay, this could be really positive, or I'm going to have a really good time no matter what, and you are open in that respect, you are going to enjoy yourself so much more, because you won't be sat there spending the whole time thinking, what does he think of me? Do I even like him? I don't like his shorts, so I'm not sure this is a good thing. But you're going to be focusing on just enjoying yourself and just making the most of that experience, regardless of what happens at the end. So you don't need to put your pressure on the other person to make you have a good date, although obviously that is an absolute bonus. If you are enjoying your first date and it's because of them, absolutely wonderful. But what I don't want you to do is is get back in the dating arena, or continue in the dating arena, and then feel like every first date is a waste of your time because you're relying on the other person to make it really good for you. So I think that's all I want to say on this subject for this week, because I don't think I need to add to that. I think it's pretty clear what I'm trying to say. So let's move on to happy hour. We're gonna have like a short and sweet episode this week. Can you tell that I'm like recording this last minute because I'm in a rush? I'm like, oh my god, I've got to get this out. Yeah, we're gonna have a short and sweet episode this week. So on to happy hour. Okay, today's happy hour is again unofficially sponsored by the Kenko sachets of vanilla coffee, because it's the first thing in the morning and I need to wake the fuck up. So we're doing this again, except today we've got it hot. I'm pretty sure last time I had it as an iced coffee. So we are sipping away on the vanilla flavour. The vanilla flavour is my favourite. It's the sweetest. I think they've just brought out a new latte flavour, like creamy latte, but I'm not really a milk person, so probably not for me. But yeah, so cheers. I'm actually drinking this because I really need it right now. Okay, now it's time for Hinge Cringe, and you best believe I have my folder here and ready. This one's kind of funny, like cringy, but also kind of funny. This person has responded to my photo and said, they say Disney World is the happiest place on earth, but clearly they've never stood next to you. Oh, it's kind of cute, really, isn't it? It's cringy but cute, so it made me laugh. I'm definitely not the happiest place on earth. I've just got a really cheesy grin in the photo. So that is our short and sweet Hinge Cringe. This week, do you know what? I'm so excited because we have got our first voice note dating dilemma. I think I told you last week that I've set it up now so that you can actually send me your dating dilemmas via voice note. So get those coming in, because I don't have one for next week and I would really like another one. We have got our first one, so I'm going to listen to it with you now and then I'm going to answer it. So I'll hold it up to the mic.
Hi Rebecca, My dating dilemma is I'm a single mum and I'm recently going on dates, but I don't feel very confident because I've never done it before. So how can I look confident without feeling it? Or how can I feel confident and look confident even when I'm not?
Oh my god, this is such a good question. Thank you so much from Anonymous. Okay, going on first date, single mum, how can you look and feel confident? The first thing I would say is get yourself one or two first date outfits that make you feel incredible. So it doesn't have to be anything expensive. You don't have to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe, but just one or two outfits that could be used for multiple scenarios. So whether it's like an active day or whether it's a dinner day or going for a walk in the park, whatever it is, but get yourself something that as soon as you put it on, you feel your absolute best. And you know how to tell whether it's a good outfit or not? Try it on just before your period. You know, like a few days before your period, and you have that like bloating and everything you wear makes you feel disgusting and you just hate the way that you look. Try the outfit on when you're in that state. And if you still feel good about yourself, that is your outfit that you need to be wearing on first dates, because that will make you feel so confident. And I think that's the first thing, is actually make it like actually doing yourself up so that you feel confident. Even if you don't feel it inside, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and go, I look fucking good, you are off to a great start. So if you wear makeup, do your makeup. If you like your hair a certain way, do your hair a certain way. But I would also get yourself like create yourself a little routine that doesn't take a lot of time, because obviously if you're a single mum, you probably don't have 3 hours to prep for a first date, I imagine. Maybe you do, maybe you've got split custody, so you do actually have time. But if you have got limited time to actually get yourself ready, then I'd work out like a little routine that you could do in, say, 15 minutes that still makes you feel really good about yourself. My makeup routine takes me maybe like 15 minutes. I do pretty much the same thing every single day. So mine is super quick. It takes me longer to do my hair if I bother doing it. Actually, I pretty much always bother doing it on a first date. But my makeup routine is pretty quick. And I tend to have, I've got one outfit that I have worn for a few first dates because that makes me feel really good, but then also I kind of just wing it. But I would say, first of all, if you're not feeling that confident in yourself, get yourself that outfit, treat yourself. As I said, it doesn't have to be something expensive, it just needs to be something that makes you feel good. And I think it's also important that you get something that is your natural style. There's no point in you trying out a brand new style or trying to fit yourself into an aesthetic that isn't in your comfort zone, because when we want to create confidence quite quickly, there has to be an element of comfort within that, because it will make you feel more confident than you trying something brand new and then feeling like you're taking clothes from your mum's dressing up box, for example. So do that. I would also think about the way that you are talking to yourself before this date. We can get really into our heads about what the date's going to be like, and is he going to like the way that I'm dressed, and is the conversation going to flow, and will they like me? You don't want to be trapped into that as you're getting ready. So what I would do instead is make sure you've got like a first date playlist on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you like to listen to music. Get yourself like a first date playlist. Put it on as you are getting ready so that you feel really freaking good about yourself. Play the music, sing, dance. And I would also be telling yourself as you're getting ready, I'm going to have an amazing first date. I feel so confident going on a first date. I'm going to have an amazing time. I am such a catch. I deserve to have good first dates. I deserve to meet someone. I'm going to show up to this first date full of confidence. Whatever it is, to almost brainwash yourself into that confidence. So instead of telling yourself all the negative things or spiraling into the negative what ifs, spiral into all the positives without over-romanticising it. So again, keep the focus on you. So I'm going to have a really good time. I'm going to make good conversation. I'm going to feel really confident on the first date. I'm going to make a good impression. I'm such an amazing catch. All the things that you are in control of, rather than he's going to be so amazing or I'm going to get on so well with him. Don't include that other person in this positive like what if spiral, because as I said before, you can't control how that person reacts. And then when you're on the way to the day, this bit is the bit that I get the most nervous at. I'm normally fine, like getting ready, fine leaving the house, and then I get on the journey and I'm like, okay, now I've got a minute to actually think about what's going to happen. During that time, I like to focus on how I'm going to feel after the date. And this is what I used to do when I first got back into dating, and I hadn't been on a first date for about 7 years, because I'd been in a relationship for 5. But I'd been single for a few years, so I hadn't been dating again. And I used to think about, when I was on the journey, I used to think about how good I would feel at the end of the day, like how proud of myself I would be, how confident I would feel because I'd done it. Because confidence comes from taking action. So the more first dates you go on, the more confident you're naturally going to feel in yourself. But I would really focus on that. I desire to date someone. I desire to find my person, and look at me actually making the effort to make that happen. Look at me actually taking the brave action, actually going on the date, actually pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And that all breeds confidence. And then by the time you meet them at wherever you're meeting them, I like to meet people at stations, because I feel like if you meet someone at the station, and this is mainly just because I go on a lot of dates in London, so I like to meet people at the train station, because I feel like you can meet there and then you can walk to wherever you're going together, and that walk makes it almost like takes the pressure off. That little walk is kind of your icebreaker, because you don't have to like face each other, because obviously you're walking, but you can have that little bit of small talk where by the time you get to a restaurant or an activity, you already feel like you know them a little bit more. So then when it comes to sitting down, and if you are face to face with someone, then it's not as intimidating, because you've already had those like few minutes of chit chat. And then I think when you get home from the date, I think it's really important to just reflect on how it went, and to celebrate yourself for pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and really acknowledging your bravery. And I know for some people, going on a first date isn't something that feels brave. I know for some people it is completely natural and it comes easy to them, and they couldn't care less about the fact that they're meeting someone new. But for those of us, myself included, that do feel like it's a brave thing, it's really important to just acknowledge that, and just really reflect on the fact that you are actually leaving your comfort zone and you are doing the brave thing. Because I think when you can reflect on that and you can see that it was a positive experience, even if it was a bad date, like bad dates make for funny stories. So there's never, unless it's obviously like a dangerous date, which touch wood, haven't had. I think even if it's a bad date, like it's a funny story that you can tell your friends, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, it's frustrating when it's like the 5th first date in a row and it's been shit, but it's still a funny story that you can tell people. So just reflect on that, reflect on what the experience was like, and know that if you've done it once, you can go on another first date again. So I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope that you, found that useful. I've just realised that I jumped straight into the dating dilemma and didn't update you on my dating life at the moment. But again, we don't really have anything to talk about there. So I still can't find photos that I am happy with at the moment. So, I mean, that's just obviously an excuse. I've just been busy. I just haven't done it, and that's fine. I'm starting a whole new business. I'm like training in a brand new career, so that is my focus at the moment. But I promise you I'm going to get back on the dating app, so we will do that again soon. Right, I think that is going to be it from me this week. As I said, it is quite a short one this week, so I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week, because have you noticed we are back with weekly episodes? And not that I regret it, but I forgot how much work it is to get out a weekly episode, so that's fine. We're doing it. It's okay. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Date with Confidence podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Subscribe, rate and review, and share it with your single friends.